deck. Let's see. I call it Rakdos control, but it's really Jund control. Is there a way I can change the name? That's important to me. And you'll see why I call it Rakdos control. You can see that the only green card in the deck is actually Vraska Relic Seeker, and that's it. Everything else is red and black. So don't hate me for calling it Rakdos control because it's very much Rakdos, but if I have a green card in there, then it doesn't make it Rakdos. I'd rather call it Jund, even if it's just a 2 of. So let me talk about the deck. One important thing about the deck is you want to just answer everything your opponent does, especially in the first 3 turns or so. So if they're getting their Merfolk Lords out, I try to go for Lightning Strike. If they go for their Adanto Vanguards, my Golden Demise can hopefully hit them. Vona's Hunger is good both early and late game, because early game it's going to trade with something. In late game, you know, if you get a send, you can really just pressure their deck and really make them sack a lot of things. It's a very creatureless deck because you're trying to just take out all their threats, and then by the time you play your Phoenixes and your Angraths and your Tetsamoks and your Vraskas, you sort of just overwhelm your opponent. That's what I'm trying to do with this particular brew. And I'm also trying to get a send, actually. And you'll notice that through Treasure Map. Once I flip this thing, I'll get 3 treasures. And that's really important for Vona's Hunger and for Golden Demise. And not only that, but it also serves as a form of card draw. LeBeau says, I'm back. Everyone is trying to get me to run to the store. Aw, man. I'm sorry, LeBeau. You missed a little bit of the deck tech, but that's okay. I always upload these to YouTube, and I capture the video and, you know, make a segment of it on Twitch. So you'll have that if you want to go back and watch. But anyway, back to the deck tech. I do try to get a send with my treasure map. And one thing I like about it is not only am I getting a send, but I'm also getting card draw, which is something that this deck lacks. Like, of all these cards in here, none of them, other than Pirate's Pillage, actually draw me a card. So by having 4 treasure maps in my 2-drop slot, I can sort of just get ahead of my opponent. And there's a lot of synergy with treasure map and this one card that looks awful. So Pirate's Pillage, 3 in a red, sorcery. As an additional cost to cast Pirate's Pillage, discard a card, draw 2 cards, and create 2 colorless treasure artifact tokens. This card looks pretty janky. It's almost like a bad Cathartic Reunion, it's kind of how I describe it. But in this particular deck, I feel like you're gonna have a land or something that you can discard. Ninja getting janky, yeah, Shaolin shows up for the deck tech. But I think this card is really good. I wouldn't run it in most decks unless they have like a treasure map or something. But this card can actually do a lot of work. And the reason for that is because not only are you drawing 2 cards, but you're getting 2 treasures. And when you have a treasure map, it's almost as though you're drawing 4 cards. So I throw away a land, hypothetically, right? Because it's a 26 land deck. I really... where's the land? There we go. 26 lands. I really try to just ensure that I can get to my 6 drops and 5 drops and 4 drops. And assuming I, you know, get a little flooded, because 26 land decks like to get flooded, I'm going to discard a land with my Pirate's Pillage. And when I do that, I'm going to get 2 treasures. And my treasure map, which I'm assuming will have flipped by then, I'm going to get so much card draw. I'm going to draw 2 cards, and then I'm going to draw 3 cards, and then I'm going to draw 4 cards, just off this Pirate's Pillage. Not only does it synergize with that, it actually synergizes with Vraska Relic Seeker. You cast Vraska Relic Seeker, you minus, you create a treasure token, which your treasure map can take advantage of. So there's a lot of like small little intricacies thrown in with this deck that can really just get you card draw going, and it's very subtle. Like you don't have to run physical card draw, so to speak, other than the Pirate's Pillage. Like, the Vraska gets you the treasure map gets you the treasures, and the rest is just, treasure map sacking treasures to draw you cards. And that's kind of what I go for. Other things to talk about, it is a 26 land deck, so I actually feel comfortable enough to run 4 Field of Ruin for that reason. I might cut it down to 2, but my argument is that I'm running 4 Cinder Barons, and I'm running 4 Dragonskull Summits, so I don't feel that bad about it. Like, I feel like most of the time, between these 8 dual lands, I should be able to curve out. I only have 1 forest, and that's in there because of Field of Ruin. And even if I get into some weird board state where I never get my forest, I feel like between all the treasures I'm able to make, that Vraska is never going to be much of a problem to get out. Omega Bees, everyone's showing up like right in the middle of the deck tech. What the hell, man? It's okay though. It's okay. I'll talk synergy with you, Omega Bees. It's all good. Anyway, back to Field of Ruin. I kind of like this card because I can search for my forest as well with it. So it's sort of a multi-purpose card. As I said earlier, I'm running 26 land, so I don't think it's going to punish me, especially with 8 dual lands. Field of Ruin, not only can it do that, but it can obviously it can deal with, Search for Azcanta, it can deal with Legion's Landing once that flips. It can deal with any of those annoying flipped cards that I'm sure many of us have gotten wrecked by. I'm talking about you, Journey into Eternity. I'm talking about you. Yeah, my Field of Ruin doesn't even have to deal with that. But, yeah, essentially I'm trying to kill all of their stuff in these first 2 or 3 turns. You'll see 4 Golden Demise, 4 Vona's Hunger. I don't want to deal with these Merfolk decks and Vampires decks and Dinosaurs decks going off. I want to Lightning Strike your best card on turn 2. If you're a Merfolk deck or a Vampire deck, great. Hopefully my Golden Demise can deal with that. Assuming it's like turn 4 Dinosaurs or something, I can get my Chupacabras out, I can get my Vraska's Contempts, which is a 2 of, because Planeswalkers are a thing, and I'd like to be able to search for them. And then, yeah, you get to Angrath, you can, I'm sure Shaolin probably has more to offer about Angrath than I do. I do think it's a good card. I have never played with it, so I feel like if anyone's gonna talk to you about Angrath, let it be Monk. I don't wanna I don't want to soil Angrath. I just haven't played with him, but I really want to find out. I'm curious. Shaolin's made him sound very appealing. Still no Angrath? I have 1 Angrath. I own 1 Angrath in my collection. If I were to try to make this deck, it would be pretty awkward. Like right now, this is a deck that I'm working towards. It's not a deck I'm currently playing with. If it was, I would use this deck all the time because I think it'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, sadly I don't have all these cards. I do have 4 Chupacabras. I only have 1 Phoenix, which really hurts this deck. If you only have 1 Phoenix, like, you're just not going to be as successful. It's just how it's going to be. I have 1 Angrath. I actually have 2 Tetsumoks, so I could run the evil Tetsumok train. 0 Vraska. So before I can even play around with this deck, I feel like I'm going to want to get at least like 3 Phoenix or so, and at least 1 Vraska. Like, it's going to be a while before I even am able to talk to you guys about how this deck works. But I think it's going to be fun, because as I said earlier, I think Treasure Map and Pirate's Pillage, being able to create 2 treasures and draw 2 cards, synergizes so well with your treasure maps, to the point where I don't think this is even a bad card. I don't think it's something you want to do on turn 4, like, assuming you're facing a Dino deck, or you're facing Merfolk, or whatever really, like, they're curving out, they're trying to kill you. You don't want to just slam Pirate's Pillage on turn 4. You'd much rather, dish out a Chupacabra, or a Rekindling Phoenix, or something else. Shaolin is saying Star of Extinction. Maybe in a sideboard, and I guess I can get into sideboard for a little bit. I'm going to have to be quick. I only have 22 minutes before Nate Price streams. But I did do a little bit of thinking about sideboard. I think 4 Carnage Tyrant is pretty good sideboard. Simply because Tetsamok is pretty awful in certain matchups where there's no creatures. I feel like if I could, I don't know, maybe take out Angrath and Tetsamok and throw in 4 Tyrants, that would be pretty good. Although that would hurt my mana base, wouldn't it? Because I only have 1 forest in here, but at the same time, do I think I can get there? I kinda do. I kinda do think I can get there. Maybe I'm supposed to throw in some... Does this sound crazy? Does it sound crazy for me to throw in forests into my sideboard? I know that sounds crazy to certain people, but I think that I might be able to do that. Like, maybe I just throw a couple forests in, you know? Or maybe, what's the name of the Gruul rare land? I always forget the name of it. Someone's gonna have to tell me. Rootbound Crag. There we go. I remembered it before you guys. Stop typing. Stop typing Rootbound Crag. I remembered. Maybe I could throw in 4 Rootbound Crag just for the Carnage Tyrant sideboard. Super janky deck tech. I'm gonna do it. I don't know if it's good. But it kind of makes sense to me. What other land is there? There's the Golgari dual land, but that one comes in tapped, so we don't want to talk about the Golgari dual land because that is not a rare land. So maybe I throw in 4 Rootbound Crags. I'm not sure how much I like Star of Extinction Shaolin, especially when I have 4 Field of Ruin, so it is dealing with their land. I feel like I can hose them effectively enough with Golden Demise and Chupacabra and Contempt and Tetsamok, where Star of Extinction probably isn't necessary, even sideboard. That's an expensive card, and it also kills my own Planeswalkers. I know I could play it like when the Planeswalkers aren't out, but I guess my one problem with it is that I already have a lot of removal. And maybe it makes the cut. You think it's good enough? That is true. You are right that Treasure Map and Pirate's Pillage, and even Vraska to some extent, can help curve my mana a little faster. I don't think I'd run it main deck. I think main deck, I want to be curving into these bombs, and I don't want to have too many more bombs, you know? A 7 mana bomb when I already have 4 6 mana bombs and 2 5 mana cards sounds excessive, but maybe you have a point about the sideboard. I don't know. I'll throw it in for Monk. I'm not 100% sold, but I don't think he's spouting nonsense. I'll say that much. And you are right. I could get it out on turn 5 or 6 just because of how fast I can get treasures. So I'll try it. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's see. So that would really hose down... Like, what would I be hosing down? I guess dinosaurs would be the main deck. I feel like when I'm up against Merfolk, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like if I'm up against Merfolk or vampires, I do not want Star of Extinction, just because it's a little too slow. And that's where Golden Demise shines, I guess. Another argument that people might have with me is, why am I not running Fiery Cannonade over Golden Demise? And I don't know. I just feel like Golden Demise, it can deal with a Danto Vanguard at least, and it does work in the Pirate matchup. So I feel like it's more reliable in that sense than Fiery Cannonade. I could be wrong. Pirates isn't the most common matchup, but rather be safe than sorry with Golden Demise. So what else would I want sideboard anyway? It's hard to say, because I think Control has got to be my weakest matchup, right? But I think Control might have a hard time because of Rekindling Phoenix. Like, I want to throw more creatures in here. Like, if I'm up against Control, what I want to be doing is maybe taking out Golden Demise. I wish I could run Thrashing Bronodon in my sideboard, but I feel like if I run Thrashing Bronodon in my sideboard, is that a little too much? Like, what do you guys think? Do you think that Thrashing Bronodon can make it once I sideboard in these Rootbound Crags? I don't know. Or am I supposed to just throw in Rootbound Crags instead of these mountains? I don't think I'm supposed to do that, because that could make it pretty awkward, because I only have one forest to synergize with Rootbound Crag, so it would mostly be coming in tapped. Mono green, sideboard, Jebaited, yeah. I feel like it's a mistake to run Thrashing Bronodon as much as I want to. Like, it's such a good card, but I feel like I'm going to have a lot of awkward games once I sideboard that in, so probably not. That is kind of what the 4 Field of Ruins are in for, is to deal with, you know, flipped lands that, you know, Thrashing Bronodon would normally want to deal with as well before they flip. Maybe I can take a look at some cards. If you guys have suggestions, just throw them out too, because I'm a little stuck on what I should be putting in for the rest of this. Oh, you know what I could use? Maybe 2 more Vraska's Contempts. That would be a good card. Because say I am up against like a Super Friends deck, then having a 3rd and 4th copy probably would be nice. One card that could work for me is Journey into Eternity. It only requires 1 green, which makes it a lot less taxing than Thrashing Brontodon. So maybe as like a 1 or 2 of Journey into Eternity might actually work. Because then you can start getting back your Chupacabras, and even your Tetsumoks. Maybe as a 1 of, I'm not sure. Running 2 of these feels a little weird when I don't have that many creatures, you know? But if you can live a Chupacabra life with Journey into Eternity, it could work. Alright, why can't I find Journey... Oh, it's Journey to Eternity, not Journey into Eternity. Gotta be a little more punctual, I guess. So I got 13 cards in this sideboard. I'm gonna have to look at some. I'm kind of running out of ideas right now. Oh, you know what? Direfleet Poisoner. Why didn't I think about that one? Come on, man. It just lighted right up to my eyes. Direfleet Poisoner. That is definitely a card that I want to put into my sideboard. So now I can have a more creature-based deck if I want to. I can throw in 4 Poisoners. Whoa, the gang showed up? Hell yeah. Oh, that is an awesome emote, by the way. I haven't seen that one. The Prado to Prey Heart. I like it. Okay, so the reason... I'll talk about this too. Direfleet Poisoner versus Lightning Strike. I think that Merfolk is prevalent enough right now where I need to have my Lightning Strikes open for... what's the name of it? The Merfolk Elite or whatever? You guys know who I'm talking about. Let's see. Go to green real quick. Deeproot Elite, yeah. I want to have Lightning Strike open for Deeproot Elites, for a lot of different cards actually, for Otepec Huntmasters, for Drover the Mighties. There's just so many 2-drops that I feel like Lightning Strike is better for at this current time on turn 2. If I ever go up against the Dino matchup, I think Direfleet Poisoner is a good sideboard substitute for Lightning Strike, though, because then you can actually trade with their big dinos, and that'll be important for you. Like Carnage Tyrant won't wreck you as much. Ripjaw Raptor won't wreck you as much. You just sideboard your Direfleet Poisoners in, and I think those matchups get better. But for now, I feel like Lightning Strike mainboard is better because it just deals with a lot of early 2-drops that try to set boards up, such as, who was I just talking about? Deeproot Elite, such as any of those Vampire Lords, you know. I think Lightning Strike does a good job against those. And it deals 3 damage, which, that's one thing I like about running Rakdos, is that I don't have to use Moment of Craving. I can actually use Lightning Strike and just get a little more damage with it. And I don't even have to worry about Adanto Vanguard, because Golden Demise hits Adanto Vanguard, Vona's Hunger hits Adanto Vanguard, Angrath hits Adanto Vanguard, Vraska's Contempt hits Adanto Vanguard. So it's not like I feel left out from that particular card. Like, I have a lot of answers to it. And yeah, that's why I prefer Lightning Strike. It deals one more damage, and I don't think Adano Vanguard's gonna wreck me with this deck, as long as I can get going, you know? So how many cards do I have sideboard now? Let's see. 17! 17, I can't have that. So what am I cutting? I really feel like Rootbound Crag is important in the sideboard, and I know that sounds crazy, but I can't help but feel like Carnage Tyrant is gonna wreck me, you know? If I try to sideboard this in and I only have one forest to get him out, that's not gonna go out over well. It'd be much better if I can take out my Field of Ruins, throw in my Rootbound Crags, throw in my Carnage Tyrants. Like, that is a complete 180, you know? Like, your deck really can enjoy that. So maybe Journey to Eternity is something I can cut. Like, the only thing that's really doing a great job with is Chupacabra. So I'll cut Journey. Vonus Hunger is really good for Carnage. That's true. Especially if you have 4 of them. I do want to preface that I'm probably never going to have this deck. I'm going to try and build towards it, I will, but it's going to take like a lot of grinding before I actually have this this finished product, sadly. So let's see. Sideboard 16. If I had to cut one of these, I think it would be Contempt, because Super Friends isn't that common. And even if I do face Super Friends, I still have 3 Vraska's Contempts, which is important. I think you're right, Shaolin. I think Star does have a matchup for it. The one that I have in mind is mainly Dinosaurs. I think it would be really good against Dinosaur decks. Because I feel like Golden Demise doesn't quite get there against Dinosaurs. Like, that's probably what I'd sub out, is maybe I cut out the Golden Demise, and I throw in 2 stars, I throw in Direfleet Poisoner, something like that. I'm not 100% on how I would want to do it, but I think you sold me on it. I think it's a good suggestion. Thinking about it, you know, in different matchups, it does make sense. And that does make a 15-card sideboard, and I really like how I can just tailor this deck. Like, you can take the Lightning Strikes out, throw in the Poisoners. Against Control, you can throw in 4 Carnage Tyrants, throw in 4 Rootbound Crags, and probably just take out your Field of Ruins, which is kind of awkward, because maybe you want your Field of Ruins to deal with Search for Azkanas, but gotta pick and choose your battles. It doesn't have to be Field of Ruin. Like, you could cut other cards for your Rootbound Crags. But yeah, I think that is pretty much what I want to say. I'm really excited to try out Pirate's Pillage. This is not a card I've ever casted before, and I'll be honest, I think I've only had it cast against me a handful of times, like very seldom. But I am very high on this card. Like, if you can get into those late game things where you can just discard a land, this Pirate's Pillage is going to be an MVP card, because like I said earlier, you'll discard, you'll draw 2, and then you can start drawing even more with your treasure maps that are transformed. Like, I feel like this card, not many people are talking about it, but I think it's really good, and I think there's going to be board states that come up once I build this deck where I'm going to need to top deck something, and if I draw Pirate's Pillage, well, guess what? I get to draw 2 cards, and then a third one with my treasure map, assuming that's flipped. Just a lot of value there. Also, it doesn't have to, you don't have to draw cards with it. You could just go for Tetsamok stuff. Like, I've had board states where I flip treasure map, and I just start sacking the treasures, and Tetsamok just can kill a few more things, you know? And Pirate's Pillage helps with that. Vraska helps with that. Very synergistic. A lot of like little intertwined intricacies that can really propel the deck that little bit more forward. But yeah, I think I've talked about almost everything I have to talk about. I hope you guys like this deck. This is kind of the deck that I want to build towards right now, because I feel like it's faster than Control. You don't have to take 50 turns before you feel like you're winning a game. Like, it's actually pretty quick if you can just deal with their stuff and then slam your Phoenix and then slam your Angrath and then slam your Vraska. Like, you can have somewhat fast games with that, even though it's a Control deck. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I've covered almost everything I can think of to cover. So hope you guys enjoyed this deck tech. I'm gonna be logging out, watching Nate Price, hopefully talk about things that we want to hear him talk about. Crossing my fingers, man. I'm praying right now. But yeah, seriously, hope you enjoyed, and take care. I'll see you next time. Thanks.